Yeast infections are super annoying. I used to get them back to back all the time. Now I cannot tell when last I've gotten a yeast infection. It's been so long. So let's jump into what a yeast infection really is. So firstly, what is yeast? Yeast is a fungus that lives within the human body. We all have yeast. This specific fungus is called Candida albicans. When yeast is living within our bodies at its normal level, it is fine. It causes no problem. But what is an infection? An infection is basically when a microorganism, of course those are those basically bugs that we cannot see with our naked eye, including bacteria, fungus like what yeast is, viruses. When those enter our bodies, it starts to overpopulate, it starts to multiply, it starts to replicate. And that's what an infection is. Living within our bodies is not the problem because we actually need these things to survive. It's when they start to take over our bodies, which they should not be doing, that's when they become a problem. And they will trigger the immune system. So that's what an infection is. So a yeast infection is when the yeast, the fungus in your body, it starts to multiply. Too much of it is in your body. So what causes the yeast within our bodies to start to multiply beyond its normal levels? Guess what one of the number one culprits is? Sugar. Sugar. It all makes sense to me now why I fixed everything in my body by changing my diet. I got rid of sugar. One of the main culprits behind so many problems. So yes, sugar, yeast loves sugar. When you're over consuming these things, you are feeding the yeast. You're feeding the yeast starts to grow out of control. That's what an yeast infection is. Also, antibiotics. Antibiotics cause yeast infections because antibiotics kill off the good bacteria in your gut. They kill good and bad, but they are killing off the good, and the good bacteria keeps the bad bacteria under control. Also, too much estrogen in the body, it makes the vagina more acidic and more sugar rich, and yeast feeds on that. Also, if you are overweight, having excess weight on your body produces more estrogen. So if the extra weight is producing more estrogen, the excess estrogen is going to make your vagina more acidic, and that acidity and the high sugar levels will lead to yeast infections. So it makes so much sense for me because I was overweight, I was obese, why I was always getting yeast infections and I was feeding on sugar. Multiple things were setting off my yeast infections. If you have a weak immune system as well, that will lead to recurring yeast infections because the immune system keeps yeast under control. And guess what sugar does as well? Sugar weakens your immune system. So not only does sugar weaken the immune system, sugar also feeds yeast and makes it grow even more. Well, getting rid of sugar alone will help so many people get rid of so many problems. Trust and believe. Stress also. Stress raises cortisol, which is a stress hormone. Once cortisol is raised, that weakens your immune system as well. And we need the immune system to fight off yeast. Tight synthetic underwear as well, ladies. You need to get rid of the tight synthetic underwear. Stick to 100% cotton as much as you can. Not those things that are going up in our butt cracks, squeezing and all of that is unhealthy for the vagina. Not only does it create yeast, it also leads to hormonal imbalances because those synthetic fibers, they create excess estrogen in the body. Synthetic forms of estrogen, xenoestrogen. So they need to be avoided at all costs. It's better to go underwearless than to be wearing those things. The scented soaps, the scented feminine products, scented wipes, all of those things as well can lead to yeast infection because they disrupt the vagina's natural pH, which is potential hydrogen, which is basically the measurement of how acidic or how alkaline something is. So some herbs you can use to help you get rid of yeast. Remember, yeast is a fungus, so you need to look at which is against fungal herbs, which are herbs like neem, calendula, Spanish needle, cerasee, pardiarco, oregano, cloves will help to get the yeast infections under control. And of course, you have to get to the root issue because if the trigger is still there, then the yeast infections will continue to come back. But our triple bitter blend is also good for it. Our full body detox is also good for it because that does everything.